Right, welcome to round 2, the Vale Golf and Country Club. Now, round 1, the last video that you would have seen, if you saw the last one, I shot my best score of the year so far on the Jamega Tour. Shot 3 under par, and at this point, I'm 2 shots back of the leader, who's on 5 under. You don't need to be a mathematician to work that one out. And this is, I'd say, the first time that I've been in contention since I've started playing golf again. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably a bit nervous, like getting started on this round, as it's just new territory, and I think it just takes a bit of getting used to. Obviously, yesterday got to 5 under at one point. Was told I was leading, and then that was completely new territory for me, and I was sort of like in a flow and sort of got out of the flow a tiny bit at that point. But again, this is like teeing off and being third last group and being 2 shots back. That is new territory, so obviously you're going to feel a bit nervous, and it's just a case of getting used to that. And when you feel comfortable, then you've got more chance of bringing the win back. Anyway, I hit a good drive for the first, and it was just off the fairway, but the rough was like ridiculous this week around here, and had about 145, and decided to just hit a 55 degree as hard as I could, because it was a big flyer and it went to the back of the green. But hit a decent putt, lagged it up and made par, so I was pretty happy to get with that on the first. So this was sort of like just a low left one. I was hitting a low flat fade all week, and it's ideal when you hit low flat ones around this golf course, because it never goes high enough to get up into trouble. If it's going low and you miss it left or right, it usually sits down pretty fast because the rough's thick. So that's my plan in this week, to try and keep it in play, because it is quite a tight golf course. Apart from sort of like holes like 5 to 9, it gets really tight. But anyway, left myself 70 yards, third shot on a par 5, hit a nice pitch in here, just jumped through to the back. Greens were a lot firmer and a tiny bit slower going off in the afternoon, and definitely not quite as good as they were yesterday morning. But I sort of got misled a bit there on that putt. So that was supposed to be, that probably should have been just outside right edge, but I saw my playing partner miss his on the high side, so I didn't give it as much. Then this hole was playing 200 yards today, so this is all the way onto the back tier. Hit 6 iron, sort of at it, but didn't really strike it that well. It's just got up to the tee and rolled back down. This is a long putt. It's like 45 foot up the hill with a big swing, and knocked it up there to about 7 foot, and then really didn't hit a good putt at all. Really didn't commit to hitting that line. So 2 over through 3, bit of a shaky start, but mostly with the putter. This is probably the best swing of the day, down the par 5, 500 yard par 5. This is a nice like 2-yard fade, and left myself around 170 yards, and it's into a wind, and this is probably one of the most exposed bit of the golf course before it gets down in the real flat bit. So just trying to hit a little 7 iron, which spun up in me a tiny bit, and had this 40 footer across the green for eagle. Again, pace like really not good. But knocked it in. That was kind of big at this point in the round. So after that, this is like 160 yards. Wasn't sure, the wind was sort of swirling around, so this hit the little 8. This is very similar to yesterday, and this pitched actually really close to the hole. It's pitched about 2 foot away, pin high, and had this little testy turny one which I hit about 2 cups outside the outside, but made that. So back to level, which is good. Just hit the flat 2 iron down this hole, keeping it in play. Really can hit it. You've got quite a lot of room off that tee. If you hit 2 iron, if you hit drive, it obviously tightens up. Which left me 170 yards and a fly lie with 8 iron. Just, you can't really miss this, well, that far long or right is a bad miss, so I was just trying to miss it like pin high left, but got a bit of a flyer, got it to the back of the green, and then hit a pretty good putt down the hill, which almost had a look. Playing partner was Luke, or one of the partners of Luke that you saw there. He had a really good round. I think he made 6 birdies in a row at one point and was in the lead, but just dropped a couple at the end, unfortunately. He's a good lad. So just a slightly right one with 2 iron, and had 155 yards back to that flag. So fly lies, it hit 50 degree, got it to the middle of the green. Completely lost concentration on this putt. Was too busy focusing on getting this lined up properly and not focused on the pace. So I left myself like a stupidly long par putt after knocking it onto the middle of the green. But anyway, this is the par 5. It's a bit of a funky one. Didn't quite leave myself as long as yesterday into this one. This is one where there's like a ditch like 300 yards in front of the green. So it's hit 4 on off the tee. Then I think that was a 5 iron. Trying to get it up there about 210, 220 with a bit of release. And left myself 120, which is playing about 135 uphill, and wind was coming in out the right, and just missed it a tad left. And then had this around the greens. And it's funny looking back, because I'm recording this a few days later, just looking at how many shots I wasted around the greens in this round is mad. Obviously 3 putt early, in fact 2 free putts early, and that is, yeah, not too good from off the green. So, you know, make 2 of those and you're in a better position at this point. So this is another one of the drives that sort of just went low left and got caught up in this fairly deep grass, but just missed the bad stuff. That could have been a lot worse there. So I had 205 yards uphill and hit a 7 iron, because it was sat down and hit that really, really hard. And this just come out like an absolute rocket, landed back of the green, hit the downslope, and then ended up like here, which is a really like weird spot. And then obviously this happens where it just hits the edge and it kills it. But yeah, had a 2-putt par, which I made, otherwise that club was getting enough. Actually hit the first drive here, hit the top of a little Christmas tree on the corner of the dog leg, and it disappeared. So this is now the provisional ball, which hit to the middle of the green and gave myself a putt for par. But yeah, I'm not really sure what happened to that ball. It like hit the top of one of the trees, and then I don't know if it either stayed up it or it just like ricocheted, but we didn't see it ricochet at all. And then obviously that's a bogey on the par 5. So this is playing 200 yards today, wind into off the right, so that is 7 iron, pitching pin high, quite a firm bounce. So this is the back of the green, left myself about 35 foot. Not too bad. Yep. Okay, it's the par 4 over the hill. So it's hitting a 4 iron in play. Just up the right hand side, you might see this land. Yep. And then what did I leave myself? I left myself 188 downhill, downwind off a downslope. So hitting 8 iron here. So I knew it'd come out pretty low, which it does. And this looked really good in the air actually, but it's just pitched this probably about 3 yards short of where I could have, and it's just landed into the upslope. So I left myself a long putt for birdie. Sort of chasing at this point. Obviously 2 over for the day. I'm needing a few birdies, but when I say chasing, still like sticking to the same game plan. It's just hoping, obviously going to hit a few more iron shots, a tiny bit closer in hole, a few more putts. But yeah, knocked in for par. Hit a nice drive down here. It's like the low flat one that stays pretty straight. So this goes off like very low and stays very low. It's almost like a mini stinger. It wound up just behind this tree, so I had to sort of maneuver this one a tiny bit. I just got a bit stuck on the inside, and then just had a pretty straightforward chip. But this green does quite a lot, and you're going to see a bit of a funky bounce. There's a few funky bounces. But anyway, got it to 5 foot, and I don't think you're going to be close enough to actually see this jump, but let's see. Oh. Yeah, I want... My partner was like, yeah, that jumped. That looked like it hit something, but I couldn't see anything there. But anyway, missed it. This is playing 200 yards. Wind down off the left. Got stuck on a 7-iron, so just missed it just right at the green. And this was like right up against the lip in a bit of a hole. And I thought, I can't really get at this, but hit it really hard. It popped out, and this is probably one of the best saves I've made, to be fair. My favourite miss on this hole, into the 3-leaf clovers. Look at the state of that. You caught that well, Ollie, to be fair. That, look, it is so thick. To smash the wedge, got it into the bunker. It's an area that I need to work on with Ryan a lot, my bunker play. But got it out and had a putt for par, and I thought I hit a pretty good putt. This just doesn't quite slide at the end. There we go. Alright, trying to get a better drive away today. Not really doing it successfully. So that's sort of the miss with the driver today. Just that one that gets a bit like quick left, low quick left. So yeah, I had about 260 yards, so just hitting the layup here, and left myself 70. Which is an area that's definitely looking a lot more solid, feeling a lot more comfortable. This one just hopped fairly hard, but the greens were firm, so left myself a putt up the hill for birdie. And just thought, what a joke golf is. It's quite a good swing. Get in play, and I left myself 120 uphill into the wind and just got stuck on a wedge. It's not a good shot. Really want to get this close and at least get one back. And actually read this really well and just didn't hit the putt. It's just downhill off the right, and I didn't think I could hit it. Think I could hit it soft enough to leave it short, but I did. And yeah, the last, just to summarise, obviously not as good as yesterday. But sort of like uncharted territory at the moment. Being close to the lead was a new experience. What felt good is that I felt like my swing was way off, and like you cannot hit a driver bad around this golf course and score well. You just have to drive it very well in order to score. And it's something that was really quite bad, and it meant that I couldn't really capitalise on many of the par 5s, and in fact bogeyed a few of them. So bearing in mind all of that, and bearing in mind the fact that I got a flyer from 180 yards and hit it 220 yards with an 8-iron on the last, I shot 4 over, which isn't horrific, and it's obviously still a step in the right direction. 1 over tournament. I think I finished about 16th, but that's it for this week. I'll see you on the next one.